Use their disability living allowance in a welfare shake-up about to be piloted here in the northwest.
Government says the old system's out of date and out of control. Critics say this is just about cuts. Well, I've spoken to the minister responsible, Esther McVey, but first here's our economics correspondent, Jay McCubbin.
So, disability living allowance is being scrapped, replaced by personal independence payments. In the past 10 years, DLA applications have increased 35%. 71% are on a benefit for life without systematic checks. This will change under PIP. Everyone will be reassessed and face regular reassessments. The Chancellor admits this will save almost £3 billion, but the Minister responsible says this isn't a cut, but a better way to deliver cash to those who really need it.
For people with disabilities, big changes are on the way. Those changes will save the government almost £3 billion. Will there also be a personal cost? Margarita had a stroke at the wheel of her car. She crashed into a central reservation on the motorway. She meets once a week at this support group in Birkenhead for people with brain injuries. Everyone here is concerned about how the reforms will impact on them.
I don't want to feel like I'm begging. I worked so hard all my life. I thought the government would look after me if I ever needed it. It's all we have, and it feels like it's under threat.
I'm due for assessment again in August, and I'm already feeling that I'm going to lose it due to these changes. I'm almost certain I'll lose it because of the way my injuries are looked at.
Generally looking at something like
In Waterloo, I meet Glyn. He's been a welfare rights advisor for 25 years.
There will be some winners, but I do feel that the vast majority are going to lose out, and that is the government's expectation.
Glyn tells me the new PIP application forms are complex. People need professional advice to fill them in. You have 28 days to return them. His waiting list is 3.5 months.
That's going to mean lower awards or no award, and that's got massive implications.
Here's an idea of how just one part of this allowance is going to be tightened up. Claimants used to be eligible for a Motability car if they could walk no further than this, 50 metres. That was changed to 30 metres, but the reforms bring that down to 20 metres.
And this is Margarita's concern.
If I pushed myself to be able to walk a little bit more, I'll be penalised. They'll take the car off me. Please, Mr. Cameron, don't take that off us as well.
The pilot takes place for new applicants here in the northwest from April the 8th.
Well, earlier I spoke to MP for Wirral West, Esther McVey, who's the Minister for Disabled People. I asked her how much tougher it would be to qualify for the new personal independence payment rather than the disability living allowance.
Well, it's not about being tougher. What it's about ensuring is that we have a benefit that really does look at disability as we understand it in the 21st century. The DLA, designed in the 1990s, was very much about physical disabilities. This will take into account cognitive, sensory, learning, and so really it has got to cope with that.
It may be a more sophisticated test, but for some people that means tougher. And you've called it managing caseloads, but in reality that is going to cut the number of claimants, isn't it?
Well, what it's looking to do is to support those people who do need help. Some people might need more help, some people might need the same. And you're quite right, some people's condition will have got better over time. This is purely about day-to-day activities. Can you get dressed? Can you feed yourself? Can you walk around? And this money goes to support that.
On that basis, what you're saying is a lot of people on the benefit at the moment don't deserve it.
I never said that at all, and I would never say that.
Well, you have, because you're going to cut 170,000 claimants, Esther. So if they don't deserve it, then how are you going to cut them?
No, that isn't right, and I really don't like this, inflammatory language, what you're doing. What's happened is the number of people on this benefit has increased by 40% in the last 10 years. You're viewing this as a static benefit. It isn't that. Some people do get better, so they wouldn't remain on this benefit. There's 3.3 million people on it now, and like I said, in a year's time, a third of people who've had a condition would get better. So we expect movement. That happens now. People have fixed term, benefits. That is what happened. That will continue to be so.
Are you? Let's distinguish here between perhaps allowance for sickness and allowance for disability. Are you saying 170,000 people who were previously disabled are now going to get better?
That's right. All of the statistics show that a third of the people with conditions who might have had illness, might have been in hospital, might have had many things, whether it could have been, mental problems there or physical problems, will get better in the year.
We've had lots of people contacting this programme. We've just seen Margarita in tears, saying she doesn't want to have to beg for her allowance. We've had an email from a gentleman here. I won't give his name. You'll understand why in a second, because he says the changes from DLA to PIP and the related regular medical examinations was simply too much for me to contemplate. I look forward to an increasingly stressful life, which could easily push me to another suicide attempt. So the truth is here is that your medical panel who are told to be tougher, could reassess these people and decide that they're fit to come off the allowance, and yet these people firmly believe they are not.
Tony, can I just say a couple of things, because I think you are making people scared there. You are actually putting out stories to make people more fearful. This is not the case. That's why I'm here. What has happened, and what George Osborne talked about there, was the 40% increase in the numbers going up year on year. This benefit was for 1.1 million people. It's now for 3.3 million people, and it was growing at 40%. And what we've done is saying we're measuring that growth there. We are ensuring the people on this benefit should get the money.
Well, Jane McKevin is with us now. Jane, we asked for viewers' response to this, and we've had plenty of it.
We've had plenty, yeah. Yesterday, remember, we were talking about universal credit, the fact that it was paid monthly in arrears. Well, we've had an email in from Maureen McCoy. Her concern is that people will be paid 4 weeks in arrears. If someone happens to submit their claim at the wrong time of the month, they could end up waiting 9 weeks for a payment. And she says clearly it's an issue if you're on a breadline.
Janet Pendlebury told us, I'm sick to death of people on benefits moaning. So you're going to get your benefits paid monthly instead of fortnightly. Well, budget like the rest of us.
Mark in Blackburn said these benefit changes will make people commit more crime or take out expensive loans. And he says he predicts more riots.
Yeah, and we had another letter from Alan Yates about the bedroom tax. Emailed in to say he and his wife have been hit with 25% bedroom tax. They're disabled. They say we have 2 empty bedrooms, but we have to sleep in separate bedrooms when my condition deteriorates. We're saving their money, looking after ourselves. Why won't they believe us?
Jane,
That's what we'll be talking about tomorrow.
You're back tomorrow?
Yes, bedroom.